Hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are the important sources of energy. The term hydrocarbon is self explanatory, which means compounds of carbon and hydrogen only. Hydrocarbons play a key role in our daily life. You must be familiar with the term LPG, CNG used as fuels. Now, LPG is your liquefied petroleum gas, CNG is your compressed natural gas. Another term is LNG, which is liquefied natural gas, is also in use these days. This is also a fuel and it is obtained by liquefaction of natural gas. Petrol, diesel, and kerosene oil are obtained by the fractional distillation of petroleum found under the earth crust. Coal gas is obtained by the destructive distillation of coal. Natural gas is found in upper strata during drilling of oil wells. The gas after compression is known as compressed natural gas or CNG. LPG is used as a domestic fuel with the least pollution. Kerosene oil is also used as a domestic fuel, but it causes some pollution. Automobiles need fuels like petrol, diesel, and CNG. Petrol and CNG operated automobiles cause less pollution. All these fuels contain mixture of hydrocarbons which are sources of energy. Hydrocarbons are also used for the manufacture of polymers like polyethenes, polypropenes, polystyrene, etc. Higher hydrocarbons are used as solvents for paints. They are also used as the starting material for manufacture of many dyes and drugs. Thus, you can well understand the importance of hydrocarbons in our daily life. Classification of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are basically classified into saturated, unsaturated, and aromatic. Now, what are saturated hydrocarbons? Saturated hydrocarbons means they contain single bond between the carbon-carbon chain and they are termed as alkanes. General formula of alkane is CnH2n plus 2, where N is the number of carbon atoms present in alkanes. And you can see the example is propane. Hence, we start from methane and till N number. In alkanes, tetrahedra are joined together in which CC and CH bond lengths are 154 pm and 112 picometer respectively. We have already learned that C bond C and C bond H sigma bonds are formed by head-on overlapping of sp3 hybrid orbitals of carbon and 1s orbitals of hydrogen atom. Nomenclature as well as isomers we have already learned in our previous chapter. This is what we are going to learn about the general formula of cycloalkanes, that is CnH2n, cyclopropane, even cyclobutane, cyclopentane, cyclohexane is also possible and so on. Next comes unsaturated hydrocarbons. So first unsaturated hydrocarbon is alkene. Alkene, that means carbon-carbon have double bond in between. That is one is sigma bond and another one is pi bond. And its general formula is CnH2n, where again N is equals to number of carbon atoms. Whereas general formula for alkenes, that is for example, here you can see this propene C3H6. It is again, and even we can have a cycloalkenes as well. Next, general formula for alkynes is CnH2n minus 2, and that is propyne. The basic thing that we need to remember is the nomenclature and isomerism. Now, when we are talking about the nomenclature, at that moment we are talking about the IUPAC nomenclature, that is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Now, key step to label a structure is, first of all, what we need to do is we need to identify the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. Next, we need to name this longest parent carbon chain using the standard naming rules. Third is After getting the longest parent carbon chain, add the name of each side chain before the name of the parent carbon chain. Number the parent carbon chain so that the sum of numbers assigned to each substituent will be a least number. Next, write the name of the side chain with its number before as prefix to the name of the root word of the parent carbon chain. And last is if there are multiple side chains of the same type attached to the parent carbon chain, we can use prefixes such as di and tri to indicate it with its assigned number to the nearest parent chain. Let's do one example. Now first you can see that we have 5 carbon atoms in a single chain, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the longest continuous chain. As n is equals to 5, the prefix is pent, and as you can see the carbon atoms are bonded with a single covalent bond. So here it is coming under the alkane where suffix we use ane, hence the name of the compound becomes pentane. Whereas in second case, you can see we have again a carbon chain, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 is the longest carbon chain. Now if I start numbering from this side as well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means 4 is the longest chain. Right, so if n is equals to 4, that means it is but, and as all the carbon atoms are bonded with a single bond, so suffix will be ane, hence it is butane. Now, if you can see with the second carbon atom, one alkyl group, that is methyl group, is attached. Now, methyl group is attached on the second carbon atom, hence the name of the compound is 2-methyl butane. Now let's see in the third case. Here we have the longest chain of 3 carbon atoms. By any way you go, you will be getting a continuous longest chain. Please be careful. It has to be continuous long chain. That is only 3 carbons, and on the second carbon atom we have a side chain, and both the side chains are of same functional group, that is methyl group. Hence we will be writing dimethyl, and on which position of carbon atom these methyl groups are attached, that is on the second carbon atom. Both the methyl groups are attached, and hence we are going to number it as 2,2 dimethyl propane. I hope this is clear. Now, key steps to draw a structure from a given name. How to draw a structure? For example, we have 3-ethyl 2,2-dimethyl pentane. Now, 3-ethyl 2,2-dimethyl pentane. So, pentane is the basic carbon skeleton. Hence, first of all, we will be drawing this carbon skeleton and number it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the second carbon atom, you can see we have dimethyl. So both the methyl groups are attached on the second carbon atom, and on the third carbon atom we have a single ethyl group. So we have attached a single ethyl group. So this is the way how we can do the structure. This is the way how we can draw the structure by the common name given to us, or the IUPAC name given to us. Next is preparation of alkenes. Now we can prepare alkanes from unsaturated hydrocarbons, alkyl halides, and from carboxylic acids. Now, how can we prepare alkanes by unsaturated hydrocarbons? That is known as hydrogenation reaction. Here you can see we are adding hydrogen. Now, unsaturated hydrocarbon means it can be alkenes, it can be alkynes as well. But we have taken an example of alkene. Now, when alkene undergoes hydrogenation reaction in presence of platinum, palladium, or nickel as a catalyst, we obtain the correspondence alkanes, where these R and R dash can be any alkyl or aryl or H. Okay. So your basic examples we have taken that ethene on hydrogenation, it produces ethane. Next, when we are preparing alkanes from alkyl halides. Now, while preparing alkanes from alkyl halides, basically two methods are involved, that is reduction method and Wood reaction. I repeat, to obtain alkanes from alkyl halide, basically two methods are responsible, that is reduction method and next is Wood's reaction. Now, in reduction, we reduce alkyl halides on reduction with zinc and dilute hydrochloric acid. It gives us alkane. For example, ethyl iodide on reduction, we obtain ethane and hydrogen iodide. Next, when we are talking about Wood's reaction, here it alkyl halides on treatment with sodium metal in dry ethereal solution gives higher alkanes. This reaction is known as Wood's reaction and it is used for the preparation of higher alkanes containing even number of carbon atoms. I repeat, containing even number of carbon atoms, because here we are taking 2 moles of alkyl halide in presence of sodium in dry ethereal solutions, we obtain ethane, right? So it is for the even number of carbon atoms. Next, further for the Wood's reaction, these are few general reactions, that is Rx plus R dash X plus 2Na. It gives R dash R and R dash R dash. That means if these Rx are of not the same type, that means if R is not equals to R dash, if we have two different alkyl groups, then what about the product? So we obtain n number of hydrocarbons in the product. So this is what is the reactions, that if two different alkyl halides are taken, so what product will be obtained. Next, obtaining alkenes from carboxylic acids. Now to obtain alkenes from carboxylic acid, basically first method is decarboxylations and next is coal-based electrolytic method. Now what happened in decarboxylation? Decarboxylation takes place by the removal of carbon dioxide, that is sodium salts of carboxylic acids on heating with soda lime. Now what is soda lime? Soda lime is a mixture of calcium oxide and sodium hydroxide. Gives alkanes containing one carbon atom less than the carboxylic acid. Here you can see we have R. R means any alkyl group and here RH. So as carbon dioxide is removed, we obtain one carbon atom less in the product. For example, if you are taking sodium propionate in presence of soda lime, we obtain ethane and Na2CO3. Hence, this process of elimination of carbon dioxide from a carboxylic acid is known as decarboxylation reaction. Next comes coal-based electrolytic method. Now in coal-based electrolytic method, an aqueous solution of sodium or potassium salt of a carboxylic acid on electrolysis gives alkane containing even number of carbon atoms at the anode. Now here you can see we are using sodium acetate plus water molecule undergoing electrolysis. Now electrolysis means electrolytic decomposition reaction. During decomposition reaction, here also carbon dioxide, H2 gas and NOH is released out. And the decomposition reaction that taking place in presence of the electric current, it is known as electrolytic decomposition reaction. So here at anode, the main product is obtained. So this is the way how electrolytic decomposition reaction takes place. The limitation of this method is methane cannot be produced by this method, as we have told that it gives even number of carbon atoms at the anode, whereas methane contain only a single carbon atom. That is the reason why methane cannot be produced by coal-based electrolytic method. Next, Physical properties. Now, as we know about alkanes are almost non-polar molecules because of the covalent nature of carbon-carbon and carbon-hydrogen bonds and due to very little difference of electronegativity between carbon and hydrogen atoms. They possess weak van der Waals forces. Due to the weak forces, the first four members C1 to C4 are gases, C5 to C17 are liquids, and those containing 18 carbon atoms or more are solids at 298 Kelvin. They are colorless and odorless. Petrol is a mixture of hydrocarbons and is used as a fuel for automobiles. Petrol and lower fractions of petroleum are also used for dry cleaning of clothes to remove grease stains. On the basis on the basis of these observations, what do you think about the nature of the greasy substance? You are correct if you say that grease substance, that is mixture of higher hydroalkanes, is non-polar and hence hydrophobic in nature. It is generally observed that in relation to solubility of substances in solvents, polar solvents are soluble in polar solvents. Polar substances are soluble in solvents, whereas the non-polar ones in non-polar solvents, like dissolves like. Boiling points of different alkenes are given, from which it is clear that there is a steady increase in boiling point with increase in molecular masses. This is due to the fact that intermolecular van der Waals forces increase with increase of the molecular size of the surface area of the molecule. Now, chemical properties of alkane. As we already told that alkenes are generally inert towards acids, bases, oxidizing and reducing agent. However, they undergo the following reactions under certain conditions. That is, they do not react with acid and base. Now, chemical properties of alkanes, we can see few different chemical reactions, that is substitution reaction. Now, substitution reactions, the basic steps, the types of substitution reactions are here. We are talking about the halogenation reaction. Again, halogenation reaction is taken place in three steps. That is, first is initiation, propagation, and then termination. I repeat, in chemical properties of alkanes, we have substitution reaction. Halogenation is one of the example of substitution reactions, whereas halogenation is taking place in three steps, that is initiation, propagation, and termination. Now, initiation means the reaction is initiated by homolysis of chlorine molecule in the presence of light or heat. The Cl-Cl bond is weaker than the Cc and Ch bond and hence it is easiest to break. Therefore, Cl bond Cl undergoes homolytic effect in presence of H mu and it gives us chlorine free radicals. Now, in propagation step, second step is propagating step. Now, in this step, chlorine free radical attacks the methane molecule. It attacks the methane molecule and takes the reaction in the forward direction by breaking the CH bond to generate methyl free radical with the formation of HCl. So here you can see this free radical is attacking on methane molecule and hence methane free radical is formed whereas stable hydrogen chloride is formed. Next, in propagation only, the methyl free radical thus obtained attacks the second molecule of chlorine to form CH3Cl and chlorine free radical. Next, the chlorine and methyl free radicals generated above repeat steps A and B respectively and thereby set up a chain of reactions. The propagation steps are those which directly give principal products, but many other propagation steps are possible and may occur. Two such steps given below explain how more highly halogenated products are formed. That is, CH3Cl plus free radical gives CH2 free radical. Right. Hence, the one of the product is formed, but free radicals are consumed and the chain is terminated over here in the last step, as you can see. The above mechanism helps us to understand the reason for the formation of ethane as a byproduct during chlorination of methane. Here you can see how important the steps are, the termination steps. Next, we can we will be talking about the unsaturated hydrocarbons, that is alkenes. Now, alkenes can be prepared from alkynes, alkyl halides, vicinal dihalides, and alcohols. Now, let's see how alkenes are prepared from alkynes. Alkynes, on undergoing partial catalytic hydrogenation, we obtain alkene. For example, here we have butene undergoing catalytic hydrogenation reactions, and we obtain cis 2-butene or cis-butene. And again, the possibility is that we can even obtain trans-but2-ene. Now, in case of the solid, it is observed that the trans isomer has higher melting point than the cis isomers. Now, geometrical or cis trans isomers is also shown by alkenes by the type. Now, few basic things that about the geometrical isomers is that cis isomers means having similar functional group on the side of the double bond, whereas trans isomers means having opposite functional groups on the side of the double bond containing carbon atom. Next, we can prepare alkenes from alkyl halides. Now, this reaction is also known as beta elimination reaction or dehydrohalogenation reaction. I repeat, this is also known as beta elimination reactions or dehydrohalogenation reaction. Now, why it is called so? As you can see here, we have an alkyl halide. Your X can be NaClBrI. When it is treated in presence of alcoholic KOH, you can see that hydrogen is removed from the beta carbon atom and halogen is removed from the alpha carbon atom. Hence, it is as hydrogen and halogen both are removed, so we can say dehydrohalogenation. And as the hydrogen is removed from the beta carbon atom, we call it as beta elimination reaction. That is alkyl halide on heating with alcoholic potash. Now, what is potash? That is potassium hydroxide dissolved in alcohol. Eliminate one molecule of halogen acid to form alkenes. This reaction is known as dehydrohalogenation, that is removal of halogen acid. It is also an example of beta elimination reaction since hydrogen atom is eliminated from the beta carbon atom. Nature of halogen atom and the alkyl group determine the rate of the reaction. That is, this is the ease of dehydrohalogenation reaction. That is, iodine is greater than bromine greater than chlorine, while for alkyl group it is tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. Now, this is also a possibility if it is unsymmetrical alkyl halide, then what will happen? If it is an unsymmetrical alkyl halide, we obtain 2-butene as a major product than the 1-butene. Next, when alkenes can be prepared from vicinal dihalides. So dihalides in which two halogen atoms are attached to two adjacent carbon atoms are known as vicinal dihalides. Here you can see the two halogen atoms are attached to the two adjacent carbon atoms. Vicinal dihalides on treatment with zinc metal lose a molecule of ZnX2 to form an alkene. This reaction is known as dehalogenation reaction. Here we are only removing halogen, hence this is also known as dehalogenation reaction. Next, alkenes can be prepared from alcohols, that is by acidic dehydration. I repeat, by acidic dehydration. Now, why acidic dehydration? Because in presence of acid, we are removing a water molecule. Now, here you know concentrated H2SO4 is the best dehydrating agent. Here, alcohols on heating with concentrated sulfuric acid form alkenes with the elimination of one water molecule. Since the water molecule is eliminated from the alcohol molecule in the presence of an acid, this reaction is also known as acidic dehydration of alcohols. This reaction is also the example of beta elimination reaction since OH group takes out one hydrogen atom from the beta carbon atom. Right, now why this is beta carbon atom? The carbon containing functional group are known as alpha carbon atom and carbon next to the alpha carbon atom is termed as beta carbon atom. Now, if it is in the case of this 2-butanol, again the major product and the minor product. Now, this is due to the help of the Markovnikov's rule. Let's talk about the physical properties of alkenes. Alkenes are colorless hydrocarbons. Except ethene, all other alkenes are orderless as well. First three members of the alkene homologous series are gases. The 4 to 14 are liquids and all members above 15 are solids. Being nonpolar compounds, alkenes are insoluble in water but soluble in nonpolar solvents like benzene and petroleum ether. Next comes the chemical properties of alkenes. In chemical properties of alkenes are the rich source of loosely held pi electrons, due to which they show addition reaction in which the electrophiles add onto the carbon-carbon double bond to form the addition products. Some reagents also add by free radical mechanism. There are cases when under special conditions, alkenes also undergo free radical substitution reactions. Oxidation and ozonolysis reactions are also quite prominent in alkenes. Next, we are going to see this addition reaction. Right, this is the example of addition reaction of hydrogen halides, or we can say halogen acids. So alkene on addition reaction means the breaking of pi bond. Hydrogen halide is added. So this is also known as hydrohalogenation reaction, as we are adding a hydrogen and a halide. Next, reaction in alkenes can be taken place by addition of dihydrogen, halogen, halogen acid, sulfuric acid, or water, oxidation, ozonolysis, and last is the polymerization reaction. Now we will see one by one with the example. Now this is the example of addition of dihydrogen. So addition of dihydrogen is taking place. Alkenes add up one molecule of dihydrogen gas in presence of finely divided nickel, palladium or platinum to form alkanes. This we have already seen in preparation of alkanes as well. So propene, it will give us propane. Now when we are adding halogen, addition of halogens like bromine or chlorine add up to alkene to form vicinal dihalides. However, iodine does not show addition reaction under normal conditions. The reddish color, here you can see the reddish orange color of bromine solution in carbon tetrachloride is discharged when bromine adds up to an unsaturation site. This reaction is used as a test for unsaturation in the laboratory. Addition of halogens to alkene is an example of electrophilic addition reaction involving cyclic halonium ion formation, which we are going to study in the higher classes. So here comes with the example, that is ethene on addition of bromine in carbon tetrachloride, we obtain 1,2-dibromobethane. Now when 1,2-dibromoethane is obtained, the orange color of bromine gets decolorized. So here is the reactivity series order, that is HI greater than HBr greater than HCl. Alkane added with the halogen acids, that is hydrogen halides add up to alkene to form alkyl halides. Like addition of halogen to alkenes, addition of hydrogen halide is also an example of electrophilic addition reaction. Okay. Now this is what addition reaction of HBr to symmetrical alkenes. That is, we have seen the examples of the symmetrical alkenes, that is carbon-carbon double bond, and on the opposite side they have the same alkene alkyl group with it. So they are called as symmetrical alkene. Now this is what an example of unsymmetrical alkenes. Now, when we are talking about the unsymmetrical alkenes, that is addition reaction of HBr to unsymmetrical alkenes, is also addressed as Markovnikov's rule. Now, Markovnikov, a Russian chemist, made a generalization in 1869 after studying such reactions in detail. The two possible products are possible. Now, these generalizations led Markovnikov to frame a rule called Markovnikov rule. The rule states that the negative part of the addendum gets attached to that carbon atom which possesses lesser number of hydrogen atoms. Thus, according to this rule, product 1 is expected as a major product and product 2 is expected as a minor product. So here we go with the Markovnikov's rule, that is where the addendum is going to get attached on the carbonium ion containing less number of hydrogen atoms. So Markovnikov's rule is very important. Please try to remember. So this is what the reaction mechanism for Markovnikov's rule. The step 1 is HBr releasing into H plus and bromide ion. Next step is the alkene forming the carbonium ion, and third step is the combination of halide ion and the carbonium ion, and finally we reach into the final product. Next, when we are talking about hydrohalogenation, right, or addition of halogen acids to an unsymmetrical alkene in presence of peroxide, that is known as peroxide effect, or as it was found by Kharash, it is also known as MS Kharash and FR Mayo in 1933. So it is also known as Kharash effect, or it is also known as anti-Markovnikov's rule. Right, in the presence of peroxide, addition of HBr to unsymmetrical alkene like propane takes place contrary to the Markovnikov's rule. So this is also known as anti-Markovnikov's rule. This happens only with HBr but not with HCl and HI. This reaction is known as peroxide or Kharash effect or addition reaction anti-Markovnikov's rule. This is the mechanism for the Kharash effect to take place, and as you can see, the main product, major product is the primary, secondary free radical, and the product obtained. Here the product obtained is 1-bromo, right? We have 1-bromo propane, which is the major product, as it is more stable. Because we have already learned in free radical mechanism that primary radical is less stable than secondary and then tertiary. Next, in chemical properties of alkene, that is addition of sulfuric acid. Now, cold concentrated sulfuric acid adds to alkene in accordance with Markovnikov's rule to form alkyl hydrogen sulfate by the electrophilic addition reaction. Here you can see we obtain ethene plus sulfuric acid. Here it is cold. We obtain ethyl hydrogen sulfate. Similarly, propene with sulfuric acid, we obtain propyl hydrogen sulfate. Next, when we are talking about the addition of water, now in the presence of a few drops of concentrated sulfuric acid, alkenes reacts with water to form alcohols in accordance with the Markovnikov's rule. And oxidation of alkenes, that is alkenes on reaction with cold dilute aqueous solution of potassium permanganate. Potassium permanganate is also known as Bayer's reagent. Produce vicinal glycols. Here you can see we obtain vicinal glycols. Decolorization of KMNO4 solution is used as a test for unsaturation. This is the oxidation that takes place in presence of a strong oxidizing agent, that is KMNO4 or K2Cr2O7. The most important reaction is ozonolysis. Ozonolysis of alkenes involves the addition of ozone molecule to alkene from ozonide and then cleavage of ozonide by ZnH2O to smaller molecules. This reaction is highly useful in detecting the position of the double bond in alkenes or other unsaturated compounds. So these are the examples, that is alkenes as well as alkynes. This is the way how the reaction takes place, and we will come to know that at what position the double bond is present between the two carbon atoms of alkene. So this is the step how we proceed, how ozonoid is formed, that is addition of oxygen O3 molecule by breaking this pi bond and then by separating out in turn as an ethanol and methanol. Last is polymerization reaction. Polymerization reaction means the combinations of n number of monomers under high temperature or pressure, we obtain polymer, that is the repeating unit. Now polymers, there are few natural polymers that we are used in our day-to-day life. Few are artificial polymers that again we use in our day-to-day life. Aromatic hydrocarbons, carcinogenicity, genicity and toxicity, that is we have linear structure, naphthalene and anthracene, and even we have the angular structures such as pyrene and phenanthrene. So here we end up with our alkanes and alkenes. In the next video, we will continue with alkynes. Thank you. Have a nice day.